This one is a fun one. Ranking the 2020 draft quarterbacks. And I'm going to list the 5 for everyone. And this class is crazy. It's Joe Burrow. It's Tua. It's Justin Herbert. Jordan Love, who's now becoming a part of this conversation, and Jalen Hurts. Do you want to let's work our way from 5 to 1. And I think 2 games, 1-1. I think it still has to be Jordan Love.
It's way too early to say Love is better than, because all 4 of the quarterbacks above him are all, at the very least, very good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to say.
I'm looking at Jordan Love, and I think he could move up this list.
I think he could too, because I've got a hot take about one of these guys.
I don't know who it is. We'll talk about it.
We'll see at number 4.
Yeah.
I'll let you do number 4 first.
I don't really have much else to add about Jordan Love. Do you?
Okay, fair enough. No, I think he looks good so far.
It's just we'll see.
He's played 2 games as the guy. Obviously, he's played more than just 2 games, but as
the Chiefs,
the guy for sure. He's played 2 games, so we need to see more. But
his number 1 weapon has been out these 2 games.
Yeah, and even then, how much of a number 1 is Christian Watson?
I think he adds a really important dimension to the whole group.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, like in general, is he a number 1 wide receiver? Not right now. He could be. He's got the skill set to be one. But
I would agree with that. So number 4. I'm looking at him.
Yep.
And I gotta go with Hurts.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get it.
So for me, it's first of all the Hurts season. It was one really good season, and I mean really good season. But it's just that season, and to start this year off right now, he's not looking like he did last year. You got the same? Do you have Hurts at 4, or who do you have?
Well, I was going to put somebody else at 4, but I think I need to come back down to earth for a second.
You're about to really dog somebody out.
I'm still going to at number 3. Not that I don't overall feel positively about him. It's not necessarily.
I love all 5. I love these 5.
Well, they're all good.
This
quarterbacks.
This is the best quarterback class in a while.
Yes.
By a lot.
This is better than 2018 because there's less busts.
Who was 2018?
Was Baker and Darnold and Lamar. Allen
that one has
Rosen.
That one has 2 hits. One that's getting a resurgent on his what? I'm trying to think. Fourth team now. Yeah. So even if it's like, oh, he's good. Yeah, he's good on his 4th team.
Yeah.
And then 2
one
busts.
Who's also on his 3rd or 4th team.
Yeah. One's out the
Darnold.
League.
Yep.
I don't think Rosen's is anywhere.
I'm still not giving up on Darnold.
Yeah, if Purdy,
yeah.
You better be on top of your shit, because I do think that if Darnold came in there, we would realize, oh, it's definitely the system. Darnold looks great. This is what a
really talented quarterback looks like in this offense.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I have
like I said, this is better than 2018 because I think both Lamar and I was gonna say both Lamar and Allen are better than anybody from this class, but that's not true. Number 1's better than both of them. Well, he has been. He hasn't been this year, but in general, he's better.
Yeah. Let's not.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
So
number 4, I will say Jalen Hurts. I'd not by much though, and I think he has a lot of traits that are above who I have at number 3. Not necessarily physical intangibles, but much more mental intangibles.
Yeah, I love Jalen Hurts.
The work ethic is probably number 1 in the league at the quarterback position. And I say this as somebody who was a certified Jalen Hurts hater coming out of college. And even for his first 2 seasons in the league, this guy works his ass off.
I don't feel comfortable saying that just because I don't see what work these guys do. And the thing with Jalen Hurts is he had that room to improve that maybe some other guys didn't.
Fair enough, but at the same time,
he still made the improvement. Yeah.
It's not just in the NFL. In college too, he made improvements every single year.
Fair.
And we saw it in Oklahoma. I think Lincoln Riley certainly deserves credit for that. But we saw it in Oklahoma. He was better than any year he had at Bama.
Yeah.
And then came into the league and really did not look like a starter. But then in his second year, he looked like a below-average starter, I would personally say. But he looked better for sure. He looked like he at least belonged. And then in year 3, he exploded. He got a lot better. And sure, we don't know what these guys do, but we can see the results. and you don't get improvement every single year without putting in hard work.
Yeah.
And
No, I definitely get all
that's now again, and I said throughout the entire year last year, he has the easiest job in the league. He's got 5 seconds of protection every play.
that.
He's got a top
You know,
5 wide receiver in AJ Brown. He's got the best wide receiver 2 in the league. Maybe Jalen Waddle and T Higgins and Devontae Smith, all 3 are in that
yeah,
conversation.
that's
a
that
top 3
tier
wide
one.
receiver 2 in the, and nonetheless a wide receiver 2 who would be a wide receiver 1 on at least half the teams in the league. So, and then he's got Dallas Goedert. And the running game is elite because, again, the offensive line just opens up holes.
Yeah.
So Hurts doesn't have to do much outside of just,
Yeah.
the open receiver.
So right now,
and let AJ Brown and Devontae Smith make plays. But he's still good. He's not fucking it up.
So right now we both have Love at 5, Hurts at 4.
Yes.
Number 3. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
I hate to do this.
I don't.
Because I think some people are going to think I'm overreacting to 2 weeks, but I'm not overreacting to 2 weeks. I'm putting Justin Herbert at 3.
You're goddamn right you are.
And I guess we should probably... I mean, I guess the rest of this list is now obvious.
Yes.
But I have Tua at 2. Because for starters, yes, based off these 2 weeks, Tua might be the MVP. We could talk about that at a different time. But he's been playing lights out. He's 2-0. Herbert is 0-2, and you could say the same thing about number 1, but the difference between Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert's bad starts of the year is I've seen Joe Burrow in the AFC Championship game twice. I've seen Herbert go to the playoffs, get a huge lead, and lose that game.
Yes.
So and when Tua is healthy, that Dolphins team is unbelievable. So I think...
And he's the difference maker.
So these 2 weeks, and we've seen that, it's not even just... We could say you could throw anybody in there, and you could probably throw in a lot of quarterbacks in there, but you can't throw out anybody because we've seen that. Tua elevates that team when he's out there. So for me, it goes Jordan Love at 5, Hurts at 4, Herbert at 3, Tua at 2, and I'm still sticking with Joe Burrow at 1. I know he's been injured to start this year off, and I know that's a huge concern about him. This is not the first time this has happened, but they started 0-2 last year. He was able to pull through from that, make the championship game. I've seen him in these high-leverage, high-stress playoff situations and come through. I haven't seen that yet for these other guys, so he's solidified at 1 until I see these guys do it in the playoffs. He could, for me, the rest of this year, he could sit, he could not play well the rest of this year until I see these guys do it in the playoffs. I'm not putting any of them above Burrow until then.
Right. Yeah, Herbert's also my number 3, in case I didn't make it obvious.
I had a feeling, and I was like, we're on the same page.
This is probably the softest quarterback in the league. if I had to now, and again, like I don't hate Justin Herbert, but nobody in the NFL gets more excuses than this guy. It's not like he has nothing to work. Like the way people talk about Justin Herbert, these people are delusional, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he has Keenan Allen, he has Mike Williams for at least 6 games every year. All right, fair enough. He's not always out there, but again, he has Austin Eckler, who's
one of the best running backs,
the second best receiving back in the league behind Christian McCaffrey.
Agreed.
And even sometimes has been a more impactful receiver than McCaffrey, just based on pure workload. He's gotten so many catches.
Fair.
And he had over 100 catches a couple of years ago, or like 90 something. But he had like I think he had like 113 or some shit.
Yeah.
He had a shit ton of catches, more than almost any wide receiver.
The question is, does Herbert have that dog in him?
No.
I don't think so. I haven't seen the dog.
That's really what boils down to it. Like, yeah, he has probably the second or third strongest arm in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He's got honestly, he's got good quickness for his size when he runs.
Yeah.
He can and even he can make plays in the pocket.
He has
can break pressure,
all of the physical tools.
But in terms of have I seen him like there's a reason his fourth quarter patented move is an interception and not a game-winning drive.
Yep.
He's just I don't even know how to quantify it always with Herbert, but it's just I've never watched him and then been majorly impressed afterwards, and I can't tell you exactly why that is.
There's plays you can be impressed, but whole games, no.
There was a play against the Titans where Jeffrey Simmons was trying to get a sack, but ends up hitting him in the head, and Herbert's falling over, but he manages to stay on his feet, and he threw a touchdown to Keenan Allen, who was being interfered with on the play. Now, granted, that's probably just a better catch by Keenan Allen than it is a throw by Herbert, but the play was still impressive by Herbert nonetheless, and I was impressed on that play by Herbert, but did Herbert do anything else in the game where I was like, oh wow, he had plenty of overthrows in that game, and in general throughout his career, like I've never sat down and watched Justin Herbert and throughout an entire game been like, that guy is a superstar. I
Yeah.
don't think he is. I think he's a star, and I think he's the most needlessly protected star in the league. And I think he's being put on this pedestal that he hasn't even remotely earned.
Yeah. I mean, the way people talk about Phillip Rivers, it's only a matter of time before people finally start talking about Herbert like that. It's something about those Charger quarterbacks.
Something about being owned by Dean Spanos, I think.
Yeah.
Terrible choices as an organization. I think that plays a part. And obviously, coaching has not been great in
No.
Herbert's career, and I'm not saying there aren't reasons. There's a reason.
I think he
has
had a
these excuses
window
in
of
the league.
grace because of those reasons, but people have extended his window way longer
Too
than they
much.
would other people's.
Yes.
If he didn't have the physical, if you took away just one of his physical tools, whether it be his size, the ability to run when he does run, or his arm strength, or whatever, or his hair, if you took away any of those things, if you took away just one, people would dog on him way more. But he has all of the physical traits,
Yes.
so he gets this extended window. But there's just
Yes.
a dog missing.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference between him and someone like Josh Allen, because you see Josh Allen play like shit like 4 times a year. You just know you're gonna get that from him. But every other game of the season, you are going to come away impressed because Josh Allen's best game is better than anyone else's best game. And Herbert has that talent in him to do that.
Yeah, I've seen the dog come out of Allen.
Herbert could do what Allen does, but he's just not built like Josh Allen is.
And no offense, I've seen the dog come out of Allen. I have also seen the cat come out of Allen.
Yeah, we see it.
But
we see it.
there's the dog. The dog
year.
is in there,
But
and I haven't seen it from Herbert.
More often than not, what we see from Josh Allen, and again, I have my own criticisms of Allen, and again, this isn't
Everyone
about
does.
Josh Allen, obviously, because we're talking about 2020 here, and I've spent too long on Herbert already, so I'm just gonna end on this. But again, the separation between them is, even though you're guaranteed 4+ bad games a year from probably 4 or 5 every year from Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Every other game, you are going to walk away impressed. I have never felt that way about Justin Herbert after any performance. And I think, that's.
And even though he lost, that game, the playoff game against the Chiefs, Allen's end of game performance was incredible.
He had 5 touchdowns in that game.
Yeah.
What do you want him to do?
I've seen that from him. Herbert.
That is a game-winning drive that didn't lead to a win, and only because Patrick Mahomes was on the other team.
Yeah, and the coin flip that we all, But that, and it's just, there is something to your only playoff game, because you're a part of it. We could talk about the defense.
24-point lead or a 21-point lead, or
I thought it was like
right?
30.
No, it was like 20. I don't think it was that bad. It was 24-point lead.
Something crazy, but you have that crazy lead. I get that the defense plays a part in blowing it, but at the same time, you as an offense stop doing anything.
Yeah, but everything's Joe Lombardi's fault. But when Justin Herbert plays well, Joe Lombardi never got any of the credit.
It's 27.
The same thing people do with. Yeah, it was 27-point lead. It's the same thing people do with offense. That's why people say offensive coordinator is always the first scapegoat. That is literally just Justin Herbert's career.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive coordinator. Every time something went wrong, it was Joe Lombardi's fault. Every time something went right, it's because Justin Herbert was doing it all. Now, I'm not going to go to bat for Joe Lombardi because he was not a good coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, you have to hold Herbert accountable, and I think that's why that's what separates him from Tua for me, because Tua is that dog. I do walk away impressed with Tua. I walk away impressed with how insane of a red zone quarterback he is. I walk away with being impressed by his accuracy. The efficiency at every level of the field, the deep ball, how beautiful it is.
And when talking about dog, the number one quarterback in this class, probably has the most dog in him out of any quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. Also, in terms of football IQ, probably number 1 in the league right now. And I know that's overplayed, but I firmly believe it. I think Joe Burrow.
It's at the position it matters.
Yes.
If you're talking about a D tackle having the highest, it doesn't fucking matter. But at quarterback, that matters.
T.R. Tart, highest football IQ in the league, but
yeah, and his name's
plays anyways.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Joe Burrow, I think, accurate, of course. Normally a good decision maker. He's another one where you don't necessarily get as many bad games a year from him as you get from Allen. But you do get them.
But
It's
apparently
funny
for
when
him, it's
when
always we know when they're going to be with Joe Burrow.
yeah.
Apparently, they're in the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when people argue back and forth about Joe because they're like the consensus 2 and 3 quarterbacks, but Joe
Mhm.
Burrow, people who think Burrow's number 2 and people who think Allen's number 2 will argue all the time. Whenever one has a bad game, it's like, oh, he just had 2 or 3 interceptions. It's like damn well your quarterback's going to do the same thing, like probably next week. Like, like, I'm not saying there isn't an argument to be had, but like stop making it about when one has a bad game because they both have bad games. Every quarterback who has ever played has bad games. Like. But that people love to overreact early in the season, and Burrow's had 2 bad games while injured, and they're gonna sit here and tell you that Burrow stinks. He doesn't. Burrow's awesome. You are lying to yourself if you believe otherwise.
Yeah.
And he is the definitive number 1. Though I do believe I'm not saying Tua's gonna catch him, but I think Tua is definitely the definitive number 2.
Right now, it's looking like Tua's gonna have a better chance to make this a conversation than Herbert.
Yep.
Especially because Dolphins. I can say right now, assuming Tua stays healthy, assuming all these guys stay healthy, the Dolphins will be in the playoffs. Right now, I would assume the Chargers aren't. Maybe that'll change, and they're a team that if you were to pick a team out of the playoffs now that would go in, I would probably say the Chargers.
Well, but who are they going to make it over?
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Who are they going to make it over? Because Kansas City's winning that division. I think it's safe to say they're a shoe-in, even regardless of any kind of struggles they might. They just beat Jacksonville pretty handily. Not to say handily. I mean, it was a tough game for the most part, but everybody knows how good Jacksonville is. And they lost to Detroit week 1. Detroit's a good football team. Miami's probably winning their division. I would say almost certainly at this point. Not that Buffalo wasn't great in week 2. They bounced back, but.
Well, here, let's just pick the wild card teams. So the wild card teams right now would be like the Bills,
Buffalo,
the Raiders, the Bills. Like who they are right now. I mean, as of right now, like the teams that are in there, it would be like the Bills, Raiders, Steelers, Browns, Colts, Titans, and then Chargers. That's what 8, 7 teams. You have to pick 3.
Yeah.
To go in. I don't
see at this point. I would give Indy a better shot than the Chargers because, like, as long as Richardson isn't out long term,
he might miss 1 week. I doubt he misses 2.
I think Indy's going to be better than I thought they were.
Yeah, I would probably still pick.
Steichen
I
and
would still pick
Richardson
the Chargers
are
over
coming
them.
along faster than I initially thought they would. I don't know that in general, I'm not picking the Chargers to make the playoffs. I think they were my 7th.
I would say
I'm fairly certain they're not going in.
As of right now, I would say Bills. I would say which AFC North team? Because it's
Cincinnati. As long as Burrow is for too long, it's got to be. But I mean Pittsburgh as well. It's not Cleveland. I don't think Kevin Stefanski's going to.
Nick Chubb got hurt. Their best offensive player got hurt. Is out for the season.
I like Jerome Ford, but I don't.
He's not.
I don't know that Stefanski's going to finish the year. To be honest with you, I don't feel comfortable saying Stefanski is going to finish the season as the Cleveland.
It's weird looking at this at it now. I don't feel as good about the AFC as I did at the beginning of the season.
Hell no. We've seen a lot of ugly football in this conference.
Yeah.
Sure. I think some of these teams will round out. Like, I think, again, but trying to put my bias aside, I think the Titans that we saw in week 2 are going to be more or less what we should expect from them.
Let's do a playoff
re-review at some point.
Re-guess, re-project, re-prediction.
Maybe halfway through
I was
the year.
thinking we do like a quarter check-in.
Okay, week 4, week 8, week 2. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Each quarter, the podcast will be like award picks and playoff predictions.
Yeah.
And then, obviously we'll talk about our own teams.
Sounds good.
But yeah. So